Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Doodles to Dazzle. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Barbara.
And today we're going to be talking about navigating your creative voice in this age of AI.
That's right. We're going to be exploring a little bit what is the impact of AI and how we can find our own creative voice still in all those loud noises of that.
Yes. So how about we dive right in, Barbara?
You stole my line. Let's dive in. Let's dive in.
So AI, yes, huge year for AI, I'd say, right? At this point, I think there could be nobody, unless you're living under a rock or something, you should be aware of the AI revolution that's been taking place this year.
Yes, and if you're smart, you are already using it in every possible way that you can to make the workload a little bit lighter.
Yes.
Yes.
But there are some real concerns, especially artists, creatives, people out there who've been expressing their concerns and fears about this, especially this AI revolution and at the rate it's been growing and being implemented into our day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's understandable why some people might find themselves scared, right, Barbara?
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally understandable because it is scary. In the beginning, also, when I heard about AI art, it's a bit like, are we still relevant? Is this going to impact our livelihood? You wonder about the consequences of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also concerns about the teaching methods to AI, which are a bit questionable
Yes.
as well, especially when it happens without the consent of the artists and everything else.
Yes. There were many artists in the beginning, or even now, rather. Many people file lawsuits trying to see, like, oh, you cannot be training the AI with my image, my art pieces. I never gave consent for that kind of thing.
It's understandable, right?
Which
because
Yeah,
I mean, it's your creative expression that's then being just, redone.
replicated, or maybe not exactly, but it's in essence capturing the likeness of whatever you're creating.
Yeah.
And many people, or how it might take away your market share from what it is you're doing or selling. You're selling your art pieces, but then if there's more AI art or AI related stuff, many people's jobs, many people's, it undermines the hard work many creatives do, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Recently, I'd read this article where I saw that gaming studios were just creating AI art, and instead of using game art or art created by designers,
Mm-hmm.
and then just using that for social media promotion, for example. And then people could see that and they caught up. They were like, why are you using AI stuff when you're firing a whole bunch of people, you're downsizing, and yet you're using this kind of AI art?
Yeah.
Undermining the work that people have done before.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, and I get it, we live in an increasingly more expensive world to live in. Things are getting very pricey. I can understand the business side of things, but there's a lot of concerns out there.
The question is, what is ethical? That's the biggest question there. And that's also a hard question to solve in this part.
And that's something that the different parties have to come together and ethically find our way forward, because the truth is AI is here to stay.
Yeah.
It's definitely part of our day-to-day life. And we definitely, even as creatives, resort to AI for so much of the legwork. It allows us to be more efficient, effective, fast.
Yes.
In so much of what we do.
Yes.
In our day-to-day work. So I'm all for AI, and it's more just how can we ethically take these steps without putting or undermining the hard work that a lot of creatives do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Did you see that episode in Secret Invasion?
Yeah,
from the Marvel TV show.
Yeah. It was a whole AI generated
intro and
right?
outro, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not one to judge. It was kind of bizarre and intriguing to see that.
Yeah.
But it's also a bit like, okay, does that take away someone's job? Or
probably.
I know the whole Writers Guild strike and the actors strike in the US, in the film industry in Hollywood, was something that's been going on for months. And only now I think they're finally coming to some sort of an agreement, because actors were afraid that their voices would be replaced with AI voices after
Yeah.
being trained on their voice.
It's a crazy concept. That's the thing. Is that ethical?
Yes.
Is it ethical to take the recording of somebody and then to replicate it
Yes.
in movies or animation? Is that ethical?
It's a bit, honestly, the way it was being done is definitely quite
questionable
and exploitative.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you $100 for you to do this recording once, and then I'm just gonna take that recording, use AI to use it again and again, and never have to pay you anything more than
that. Doesn't
$100.
sound right. I mean,
it doesn't sound right.
When you're a musician, for example, and you make a recording, there's also things like copyrights, and I think has to be some legal
Yes.
things that needs to be investigated here, like to make this a bit more fair.
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem fair or right
or some kind of royalty
or ethical
system or something.
exact a system in place. But anyway, the other question that we had with AI is, are you still relevant as an artist? Does this really take away your creative voice or not? And how can we use it? How can we use AI and still be authentic, our authentic self?
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think AI can take away your voice? And
for me, I don't really think so. I mean, I get the concerns, and I would not like it as either if your exact stuff gets replicated or something by human or AI. I mean, that's never a fun experience, and those things do happen. But there's also the thing that AI is never going to completely replace human art, because you have, as a human, you think differently. You're constantly reinventing yourself. You're expressing your emotions. And I don't think that AI is there. Maybe one day it will be, but I don't know.
But even then, it'll be its own thing, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I feel like there's now a bit of a market for AI art, and people there. I'm sure there are people out there who are buying this AI art and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. If people are interested in that sort of thing, that's fine. But I also think there's a space for human expression, creativity, and all of this. And people, I think, will feel even more inclined and be like, oh, this was made by a person versus something that was made by an AI.
You could also just look at from the other side, and maybe human art is going to just become a lot more valuable because of this, also because of the mass production from AI that makes it so easy. I think also there might be a trend of people who are just lazy to learn, which is also something to be mindful of, because the really skilled people out there, they might grow slimmer after some time because of laziness, because of convenience. So I think art is something that will remain relevant. It's just the landscape is changing.
Yes. Yeah. And we as artists and creatives have to just adapt with it and do the best we can.
Yes.
Stay true to our own expression, our voice. And, we need to address this issue collectively.
Yes.
And we need to be a part of this ongoing dialogue and make sure that we set the standards for what it means to be ethically using AI to improve our lives, but rather not take advantage of other people, or because there are people who will be posing AI art as genuine stuff and things like that. So
there needs to be some regulations about this.
And also it's just comes down to the integrity of the person, right? I mean, do you want to be the kind of person who is being dishonest in the passing off AI art as your own or things like that? So this is something where we have to hold ourselves accountable. And also as artists, as creatives, we have to stay true to our integrity.
Yes.
And the kind of pieces we bring out, because I believe that in the end, that's going to bring the true value of our artistic expression. And that's going to set the difference between those who are just in it for the money or those who are in it to take advantage versus real artists who are actually trying to contribute in a meaningful way.
Yeah. So how do we actually do use AI is also, I think, an interesting question. So why don't you give a few examples,
Well,
Charlie?
we use AI. I think we've talked about it many times before, but we've used AI for brainstorming, especially. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Or organizing a lot of the work. We do operational stuff, compiling data, and all these kind of things. Giving us prompts for artistic inspiration, like for when we did the Inktober challenge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've used it once at my job where I've used AI to create an image that we actually use for social media promotion.
Mm-hmm.
The results were okay, but that's the only time we ever used it. I think the technology is not perfect yet, but I don't know if you would resort to it all the time. But for now, it's interesting to see what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this is about the most we do.
Yeah.
Of course, I use AI to help improve the quality of this podcast, for example, the sound quality.
Sure.
Because we're amateur podcasters, we're limited with our equipment, for example, or where it is we're recording. So there's often echoes or surround
noise,
sound and
or
noises.
random motorcycles that pass by.
Exactly. So, yeah, there are technologies that's helping improve the quality of what it is you're doing. In this case, it's helping us improve the sound quality of the podcast, and I use it, and I think it works really well. So, yeah, there's things like this that we use it for.
Yes.
And I think I would highly encourage you all to also use it where you see a quality of life improvement in the work you do.
Yes.
So yeah, even for our artistic process, we use it more for brainstorming purposes.
Yes. So to make it clear, we're not using like visual prompts.
No.
Basically, like things like Midjourney and what all is there?
Midjourney. No, we don't use any AI prompts for
AI art
to create any AI art, and I mean, I know some artists who create some, how do you call it, thumbnail sketches, or basically AI generated ideas, visual ideas, like using Midjourney or DALL-E or whatever, and then they use that as a reference to kind of create their own piece.
Yeah, and I think that's also perfectly okay.
Fine,
That's just, maybe you are thinking about a certain concept and you're still reworking it.
Yes, and you need a bit of a reference to work with. And and that's also okay, and I wouldn't judge that as a bad thing or anything.
No.
We've used references to do so many pieces ourselves, so if it speeds up your process, please, by all means, use AI-generated art to create your reference necessary to create your pieces. And at the same time, if you want to create AI art just for the heck of it, that's also fine. It's up to you.
You can also go and play a little bit with it and just have fun.
It's fun technology, and it's very interesting to see how far it's coming and how quickly it's growing. So, but we don't use it for that purpose. Not yet, anyway. Let's see how it goes.
I don't think we will, honestly, because I really do enjoy making the art.
Yes.
And I think we both fell in love with the process also a lot of putting things on paper. For me, it's when I'm actually creating things, it makes me calm. It makes that I can really focus on just that, and it calms down everything else. And so that's a process that I really enjoy. Versus if I'm typing something on a computer, that feels more like work to me. So for me, maybe you have a faster result, but you don't have that creative expression and that you get that's a bit meditative.
Yes, it depends on your process, I think.
Yeah.
Since we already have something a bit in place when it comes to our workflow when we're creating artistic or creative pieces, it might not seem so necessary to have this because, like Barbara said, when you love the process, it's all good. But feel free to experiment and play around and see what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for the most part, that's basically where we stand when it comes to AI. You know, we heavily use it in our day-to-day work life.
Yes, there's just too
And
much to do.
in
It
fact,
just
not just
beats,
work, but it's actually becoming such a thing we use for a
yeah.
lot of things, like planning our itinerary, our calendar, our meal plans, our workout plans. There's a lot of situations where we've used it a lot.
Yes.
So it can be very helpful, and it's like having a bit of an assistant to do your work.
Basically.
And that's how we like to look at it.
Or like somebody to bounce your ideas to.
Yes,
That's how I
exactly.
use it. It's not made to do that.
Yes.
But it works.
No,
you
it
know?
is made for that
Because
too. Yeah,
a lot
sure.
of times you need to organize your thoughts a little
Mhm.
bit, and then sometimes that can come through conversation, but you don't always have the luxury to talk to everybody, or maybe you don't want to talk about certain things to just
Sure.
anybody. And for me, that really helps me organize my flow of thoughts.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of uses,
Yeah.
and it can help you grow. If you're actors, maybe it writes some kind of a script for you to practice.
Yeah, for
example.
like marketing purposes or
just
social
whatever.
media.
Yeah, exactly.
You
If you want to think of a sketch to record for social
Yeah.
media,
I mean,
there's all kinds of things. You have to understand that you can't always do everything. And you have to also try and see what works for you.
Yes.
And I think if we all strive to be a bit open and honest about, okay, yes, we use AI and we're okay with it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But we also are honest that we don't use it to create pieces and pretend that we made it. But
Yeah.
we don't do stuff like that. So
Yeah.
as long as we hold true to what it is we're saying,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine how you want to use AI.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just be frank
It's-
and
it's-
honest about
It's
it.
honestly great technology, and
Yeah.
the uses I can see growing more and more every day gives me so much hope for so much more possibilities, even in terms of an artist, in terms of designers, creatives, like the possibilities of what it is we'll be able to express in the future.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yes.
And it's also exciting to see how our lives are improving just with AI becoming a big part of it more and more.
Yeah.
Whether at first it was having Google Home or Siri or whatever at home and
Yeah.
Alexa, but now it's going to be more and more integrated in our lives. And while there can be many other concerns like privacy and stuff like that, this is an ongoing dialogue we need to just address and keep at it. But we can't shy away from this rapidly moving world. That's it.
Yes.
We have to be part of it, or you're going to get, if you go against the tide, it's also going to be very tough because the world is changing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. Basically, think about how AI can improve your life, in what way, and it's okay to use it. I don't think it's something that will kill the creativity or something. Use it in your favor, but use it wisely. Yeah, and that's basically it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you like this episode, please do like, subscribe, and share, and leave a review if you like hearing our podcast. And feel free to also check out our Etsy shop. Where
yes, because it's Black Friday week and we have exciting sales, I think, every day. So.
Yes, so check out our Etsy shop. Barbara's running some sales, which is fun. And also visit us on social media and give us a shout out in case you want to discuss something or you want to show us how you use AI and the kind of stuff you tell us stories. We'd love to connect with you.
Yes. All right, guys. See you the next time. Bye.
Toodles.